to Vision to Success. My name is Maria.
Oh, and I'm Jason, and
You
we are finally on our way to success. We had a few technical difficulties, but we're coming to you live now. So thank you if you hung in there waiting for us to get started. Really appreciate it. And if you could, if you're watching this live, go share this out on your social media right now so more folks can get in on it.
Yes, so that you guys can learn a lot of business strategy, because we have the #1 coach, business coach here in Las Vegas, Evil Genius Leadership.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. And what we do here on Vision to Success is we bring on some established entrepreneurs, and we like to learn about how they struggled and how they were challenged and how they overcame those challenges, so you can learn from them and don't have to make the same mistakes they did and I did, because I made a lot and I continue to make a lot of mistakes. And then the second half of our show, we bring on an inspiring entrepreneur, and we go through a little live coaching to help them work on a challenge they've got in their business right now.
Yes, you know what? Failure. There's no room for failure when you're starting a business or when you're managing a business. So, learning from this guest that we have today will actually really help you a lot. So please stay tuned.
Yeah, and I know you had something you wanted to talk about today.
Yeah, I know. Well, because we are in a business show, we would like to bring you guys some businesses that's actually on the news, or big businesses that break through in the business world. Like right now, I know that this is a hot topic, is the Keystone XL Pipeline.
Yes, very, very hot topic. The Biden administration just, I think what technically they did was they pulled back the license for them to do that. And that has, of course, some impacts on jobs in the Midwest of this country and some other areas. But what were your thoughts on Keystone Pipeline?
After I did my research and read so many articles for the past few days, I think there are pros and cons of this Keystone. There is, according to the research that I actually seen so far, that there is a harm in impact environment. I know that they are also, it lost a lot of job. But what I seen earlier on the internet was one of the cons. I meant cons. Yes, is they're not really paying a lot of money for these workers.
No, there's you'll hear a lot about American jobs, Canadian jobs, the environment, and all that is a really valid way to think about this. I look at this from perspective. I look at this from a little bit different perspective. And the reason I think that first, there's these tar sands up in Canada. Canada's going to sell that oil to somebody. Whether they do a pipeline through the United States, they do it through Canada, or somewhere else. They're going to sell it to somebody. One of the factors that gets lost in this, and this is near and dear to my heart because it was one of the things we talked about when I was an instructor at Air War College when I was in the Air Force in the distance learning program, was our European allies are very dependent on Russian oil and natural gas and Middle Eastern oil and natural gas. And I think this is, because we don't really have a national energy strategy, all of this is kind of a free-for-all of where this oil might go when it comes down through Keystone Pipeline. And my thoughts are, in the short term, this could be really good to wean our European allies off of Russian oil, take that geopolitical leverage off of them, and then because they're our European allies, we can work in the long term towards more clean, renewable energy strategies.
You make a decision. It doesn't matter if it hurts some people, as long as it actually benefits a lot more. So it's the same thing. So is this something benefit us more people? Like 90% or 60% and 40% is going to be. So that is some of the leaders in in our country and in our company. It's really, really hard. If they make a decision, they're gonna make a decision fast. And this pipeline right now is, I am not blaming any Biden or Trump or any liberal or any side of the politics. They have to make a decision. It doesn't matter who they hurt, because they have to look on, we have different point of view. Probably Biden think that it benefit more people. Maybe he thinks that it will harm less than, it will benefit more and harm less. The same thing as Trump when he sat down on the office and say, you know what, this is going to benefit more. So there's no, literally for me, is no right decisions on this matter. So
yeah, I think it's a challenging problem. It gets very complex when you start to factor in the world, the factors around the world that impact and are impacted by this. So, but I'm glad we got a chance to talk about this today. But I'm sure you are all waiting to hear from our first guest, Pebbles Franco. So why don't we take a quick break?
Yeah.
We're gonna see if we can get configured a little more condusively to the discussion here, and we will see you right back with Pebbles Franco from Top Tier Realty.
Live streaming on social media is the best new way to interact and bond with your community. Do you love to encourage, motivate, and empower others, but you do not know how? Well, your opportunity starts with us on social media shows. We have 20 shows a week live streamed across the globe, with a reach of over 80,000 and growing. So you can host your own show, and you can be anything you want to be. So let's bring the community together, and let's bring the world to you. Join us now. Live streaming on social media is the best new way to interact and bond with your community. Do you love to encourage, motivate, and empower others, but you do not know how? Well, your opportunity starts with us on social media shows. We have 20 shows a week live streamed across the globe, with a reach of over 80,000 and growing. So you can host your own show, and you can be anything you want to be. So let's bring the community together, and let's bring the world to you. Join us now. Live streaming on social media is the best new way to interact and bond with your community. Do you love to encourage, motivate, and empower others, but you do not know how? Well, your opportunity starts with us on social media shows. We have 20 shows a week live streamed across the globe, with a reach of over 80,000 and growing. So you can host your own show, and you can be anything you want to be. So let's bring the community together, and let's bring the world to you. Join us now. Live streaming on social media is the best new way to interact and bond with your community. Do you love to encourage, motivate, and empower others, but you do not know how? Well, your opportunity starts with us on social media shows. We have 20 shows a week live streamed across the globe, with a reach of over 80,000 and growing. So you can host your own show, and you can be anything So let's bring the community together. And let's bring the world to you. Join us now. Live streaming on social media is the best new way to interact and bond with your community. Do you love to encourage, motivate, and empower others, but you do not know how? Well, your opportunity starts with us on social media shows. We have 20 shows a week live streamed across the globe, with a reach of over 80,000 and growing. So you can host your own show, and you can be anything you want to be. So let's bring the community together, and let's bring the world to you.
Are we going?
Yes.
All right. We're going. Welcome back.
I fit.
You fit.
Yeah.
We, at least in the short term, solved our technical issues, so we'll see how the rest of this goes. But
Yeah,
welcome back to Vision
right.
Success. And I don't want to beat around the bush too much longer. I want to get our guest in here because she's a good friend of mine. She's doing us a big favor by being here today.
Thank you so much, Pebbles.
But I do want to introduce Pebbles Franco.
Pebbles or Pebbles?
I do want to introduce Pebbles Franco from Top Tier Realty. As a realtor and property manager, Pebbles Franco has been servicing housing needs in Las Vegas since 2013. After running her own property management company, Pebbles Franco is passionate about helping families build their financial portfolio. She assists buyers in building equity and sellers in utilizing their equity to obtain their financial goals. Any agent can help you find a house. However, Pebbles prides herself in finding the clients the right home. Did I get that right, Pebbles?
That's it. That's
right.
exactly it.
Thank you for being here. It's great to have you. Is there anything else you want to tell us about yourself? I'm going to get these off because they're not helping me at all right now. So,
Well, for starters, I am so glad it's not 2020. That's what I want to say. I am very happy that thankfully 2021 has rolled around and we're back in business, starting to open things back up a little bit more, and that we're actually able to get more homes sold. We're actually getting a few more on the market, so I'm just really excited about that. So that's where my head's at right now, is actually being able to grow my business and meet some of those goals that I wasn't able to quite achieve in 2020.
Excellent. I do know how important growing your business and personal development is to you because I saw you at the Soulful Success, the Soulful Entrepreneurs Summit yesterday.
Yes, I was there this morning as well, and I will be there tomorrow.
Excellent. So glad to hear that. I'm on the panel tomorrow morning, so if you're interested in that, tune into Soulful Entrepreneurs Summit. Just search for it online. You'll find it. But Pebbles, we're not here to talk about that. We brought you here today because you are one of the best salespeople I have ever met. And our topic today is learning sales skills. So why don't we take a little trip on the Wayback Machine? You can tell us how you got started as a teenager in the property management and real estate business, and tell us what you learned early on about being successful at sales.
Well, I learned two different types of sales when I was younger. I had two role models, and they both took two totally different tactics at sales. One was very pushy, would get angry if you didn't accept the deal that was being offered, and took everything very personally. The other one sold themselves and was passionate about what they were talking about. Mm-hmm. I noticed that the difference right there made the sales completely smooth for the second person, and very hard and difficult, like an uphill climb for the first. And I think the reasoning is because of how it was taken by the person, the customer, the person you're trying to sell to. One, it kind of makes you feel terrible. And by terrible, I mean like the method was trying to go towards their ego, or towards greed, or towards need, or towards those kind of inner desires. Mm-hmm. You need to have this new 2021 Audi. You don't have one? Why don't you have? You need to buy one today. Why haven't you bought one for your family? What is this showing your kids? And then would get very angry if you didn't react well to that. The other one was focused more on, well, this is how it can benefit you. This is how it solves a problem in your life or resolves an issue. And those types of sales make the person feel like, I can do better, I can achieve more, this is something that will help and benefit me, as opposed to this is just something from one of those inner core needs of desire, lust, want, that kind of
The
thing.
7 deadly sins.
Basically, yes. Yes.
I like that.
That's actually what, yes, that's exactly what it is.
We got a laugh from the audience for that one. That's it for me, I'm going. I'm not going to do any better than that.
You're done now.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, we're done. But anyways, so, I've been in sales for so long. What do you think is the most challenging part of a salesperson?
Well, there's two things. One is a mental block. And it's basically where your mindset is at when you go into the initial sale. And if your mindset is, I'm bothering this person, nobody wants to listen to me, I'm probably not going to do this well, or I have a negative perception of what salespeople are to begin with, which is one of the biggest hurdles I had to go and achieve.
Or even, I've got to close this sale.
Yes.
That can put huge pressure on yourself.
Desperation.
And not just on yourself, on the person you're trying to close the sale with, and it doesn't feel good for anybody.
You're putting that weight on them as opposed to actually being able to solve a problem or provide a service.
As opposed to lifting a weight off of them by giving them something they can really use.
That's exactly what it is.
So I want to dig into mental blocks a little bit, because you've been doing this a long time. Hopefully you haven't forgotten. Tell us about a time you had a mental block you had to get over.
Well, like I was saying, my first problem was the mindset of what sales is, because I saw that example number one and was like, I never want to be a salesperson. Salespeople are like, your typical used car salesman analogy, that kind of thing. And I'm like, oh no, I don't want to be that pushy person that tries to like ram stuff down people. So I went into my first sale saying, oh, well, I'm not trying to be that person, but if you could listen to me, please. And then I realized, I'm apologizing for trying to help someone. Nobody wants to buy from somebody who's apologizing for trying to assist you.
And I think a lot of people who are just getting into sales, especially entrepreneurs who are starting a business, I find entrepreneurs are really good at what they do in their business, how, what the problem they solve, but sales is new. It was new to me. The Air Force doesn't teach you anything about sales. Taught me a lot of great things, but didn't teach me anything about sales. So I had that problem. So how did you go from, I'm apologetic about trying to sell to you, to the Pebbles that I know that not only is excellent at selling herself and solving her clients' problems, but is giving great advice to people on how they can do that themselves? How did you go from the apologist to who you are today?
Well, there were a few steps down the line. First of all, getting through those mental blocks of finally realizing what it is what service I'm trying to provide. Secondly, aligning that service with what my core values are. And third, finding a way to merge them so that I'm passionate about what I'm doing. So once I'm passionate about what I'm doing, it's not about trying to push something on somebody or convince somebody of anything. It's, I have a solution. Here's your solution. And if they don't react well to that, I'm okay, because I'm still passionate about what I'm doing. It's believing in what your product or your service is. And if you're not passionate about it, then you might as well get a 9 to 5.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, that's true. It's what a lot of salespeople, what they really don't understand in themselves is, I've been in sales for over 20 years. I've been a top seller from being a manager at the bank, being the top seller of insurance, housing, everything. And then when I get into a timeshare now, so So I've been really good in sales all my life, and then you go on a timeshare where you just selling a dream and not a tangible property is totally different in selling part. So what do you think, or why is it so hard to sell a dream, you know, something that is not right there, than a tangible property? What is the difference?
Well, first off, I think it's probably the way that it's being presented. So a tangible property is a solution to having a roof over your head. A timeshare is maybe a solution to having a roof over your head when you go to a specific spot. Like if you're already going there and that's something that they do, they travel to certain places and the timeshares are already there, it solves a problem for them that they don't have to worry about booking hotels and Airbnbs. And they already are paying into something that they can actually tangibly have over their head. So it's a solution for a specific problem, but not everybody has that specific problem. Everybody does have the problem they need a roof over their head. So it's not that it's harder, it's just a different clientele group, a different niche that you're focused on. Does that make sense?
Not exactly, because I get what you're trying to say. The only thing is, I think what's really the difference between is selling something, well, maybe you're right, but I believe it actually goes, you're right, that it goes down to the person who's selling the thing.
Yes.
Because I believe in being a passionate seller or salesperson actually shown to your client. So if you're not passionate with something, I think you're right. So I take that back.
Okay, well, we've come full circle on that one. So it's really important in business, whether you're selling homes or whether you're selling little widgets or maybe USB ports for a computer that actually work with the camera. It's really important to be solving a problem, whether a real problem or perceived problem. And you talked about that. The timeshare world is a little bit of a perceived problem, right? I want to have more freedom. I want to have adventure. I want to... That's not a real problem you have in your life, but it's a perceived problem. You can go solve that problem a number of different ways. But the problem, and I want to ask you this, I know you have it refined down really well. You aren't just solving the problem of someone... Oh, something's happening. You aren't just solving the problem of a roof over somebody's head. And you're not just solving the problem of the American dreams in terms of having a house. Tell us the problem that tell us the way you educate people on the problem you're helping them solve if they're a reluctant home buyer.
Well, my first problem that I'm trying to solve for people is breaking the rental cycle.
Okay, let's talk about that.
And my reasoning for trying to break the rental cycle is because that too is a mindset. It's a mindset that I can't succeed and be better, do better, and build wealth and have something to pass down to my future generations. And I think that a lot of people, I was raised in a household where my parents were both realtors, so I've been doing this, I've been familiar and doing this for a while. However, other people, I don't think that they've necessarily had those same opportunities, that same experience. So the way that they've seen is, well, my parents rented, their parents rented, I rent. And it's not so much a matter of they can't, it's they don't know they can. They don't know their options. And so I believe in always presenting as many options as I can to every single person I come into contact with. Because that alone is a service, and that's what I enjoy. I'm passionate about expanding people's options, expanding their futures, expanding the possibilities for them and their children to actually have a more wealthier and successful future. Because that's the generation that my kids are going to have to be growing up with. So it'd be nice if we all kind of helped each other for the next generation, and I'm trying to do my little part.
I love it. And you are, and the reason I send people to you is because you are very good at providing those options, and because you're so good at that, you are very good at overcoming people's sales objections. Because remember, well, I think I learned this from you, you're not really selling the house, you're selling yourself as a person to help them solve their problem, to get out of that rental cycle. So, real rapid fire, let's go through a couple of sales objections for someone who you think should be a first-time home buyer, but is reluctant to even look into buying a house. So real rapid fire, let's do a couple. I don't have a down payment.
That's okay, because right now there are tons of down payment assistance programs. There's things like Trio, Home is Possible, just to name a few. I would love to sit down with you and explain some of the options that you might have, because you might actually be ready now.
Okay. I'm single. I don't have a family. I don't need a house.
Oh, dear goodness. That's not why you're buying a home. You're buying a home.
I thought you were going to say that's not why you're single.
Well, that too. That might be why you're single, because you don't have a house.
I
No, I'm kidding.
interrupted.
I'm just kidding.
Well, I don't like the location. Can you go closer to this location?
Of course, we can move to it. We're looking at properties wherever you're comfortable, because we're looking at properties that you're actually going to stay in, because I don't want you to like come back in a year and say, there's nothing around here for me. So that's the first thing that we're going to do, is try and focus on a location that actually works for your lifestyle.
I like this model of this house.
They have tons of models of those homes throughout the valley. Trust me, we can do a search by that as well. And the reason that I'd suggest that you as a single male still get a home is because you're paying a mortgage either way. Right now you're just paying your landlord's mortgage. So if you're going to be throwing money away at a property to keep a roof over your head, why not build some equity in the meantime? It gives you more options for financial issues that may come up or may not. Either way, you'd at least be able to expand those options.
So where's the paperwork?
One more,
ready.
because I know this is an important one that you deal with all the time. My credit score is not great. I don't think I can get a loan.
Oh, dear goodness. So there's two things. One, we do have people who work on that. I do have people who work in credit repair that'll focus on helping you get a higher credit score. Two, there's things like Trio that will actually purchase the home for you while you are building up your credit. And you know, actually, three, I would be surprised if right now, if you can rent a property and they're asking 650 and 700 credit scores and you can't qualify for a mortgage at 600 credit score, I'm pretty sure you might actually be closer than you think.
All right, so none of you have any excuses. Go buy a home with Pebbles right now. Before we wrap it up and move on to our next segment, you did a great job overcoming these sales objections, but I'm sure it took you time and effort to figure out how to do that. Can you give our viewers some advice on how to overcome sales objections?
First of all, don't take it personally. When somebody's saying no, what they're really saying is not right now, and they're not saying it's you. That's the biggest thing that I think most people need to start trying to overcome, is that they're not trying to say, we don't like you, we don't want whatever you have, we're not interested. What they're trying to say is they just don't understand what you're trying to provide and how it helps them. So actually find ways to be able to connect with them on what their problem is so that you can actually go ahead and show them those solutions.
That's amazing.
Any more for Pebbles?
I think that's all. We're going to have
All
her
right.
on the next segment, right?
Yeah, no, Pebbles isn't going anywhere. We're going to have Pebbles right back. And we're going to bring on our second guest, and Pebbles is going to help us do some live business coaching with our next guest. So we'll be right back.
I'm sorry, I need to go back here.
And it's
Live streaming on social media is the best new way to interact and bond with your community. Do you love to encourage, motivate, and empower others, but you do not know how? Well, your opportunity starts with us on the best new way to interact and bond with your community. Do you love to encourage, motivate, and empower others, but you do not know how? Well, your opportunity starts with us on social media shows. We have 20 shows a week live streamed across the globe, with a reach of over 80,000 and growing. So you can host your own show, and you can be anything you want to be. So let's bring the community together. Let's bring the world to you. Join us now. Live streaming on social media is the best new way to interact and bond with your community. Do you love to encourage, motivate, and empower others, but you do not know how? Well, your opportunity starts with us on social media shows. We have 20 shows a week live streamed across the globe, with a reach of over 80,000 and growing. So you can host your own show, and you can be anything you want to be. So let's bring the community together, and let's bring the world to you. Join us now. Live streaming on social media is the best new way to interact and bond with your community. Do you love to encourage, motivate, and empower others, but you do not know how? Well, your opportunity starts with us on social media shows. We have 20 shows a week live streamed across the globe, with a reach of over 80,000 and growing. So you can host your own show, and you can be anything you want to be. So let's bring the community together
I like
Why would I need to sell
It's
you
gonna be
my
on
house?
wheels. But
She's got an RV and she's living her dream. That's all my goal is,
Okay.
to help people live their dream.
I've interrupted enough. Go ahead.
So after you're done, because tracking is going to be important, the
right.
next thing's going to be following up with those same clientele. So we'll work on that as a next step, but
Okay.
keep it in mind that that's the goal. The goal is to be able to track and be able to get that repeat business.
Right.
And we can only do that if we're actually marketing with a purpose, tracking where we're getting these people,
Right.
and then we can do that next step. Because I think you're going to do fine. I think you do.
Yeah.
You are.
She's so adorable, and she knows a lot of people.
Yeah.
She has followers. Just to let you know, she is an entertainment promoter, so she knows a lot. She's very,
That's
very
no rock and
roll
well.
stuff.
Yeah.
And now you're going to be promoting yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. You don't need to promote it.
In
Yeah.
Arieyl, they call affiliates rock stars. So
There you go.
that's
Yeah.
made 'em
I
happy.
know, right?
I like that idea that she's gonna be visiting communities.
Yeah.
Not
I love
only
that
that,
idea.
visit those places that you've been to
Right.
with your promoting entertainers and everything.
Right.
Those are all your target market right there.
And if you've got relationships with the existing entertainment community,
Right.
that may be where you start. That is, entertainment is a hard
Sphere of
lifestyle.
influence.
Yeah.
It is.
And right now,
It
they're
looks
all
fun
hard.
and easy. It's a hard lifestyle, and this may, maybe this is what your 7-day challenge is.
Yeah, there you go. Now.
Let's-
That's why I get to sit in this chair.
Let's jump into that car and let's go and find them. I'm
Alright.
ready to
All
try.
right. I think I have no idea we're on time, but I think we're getting pretty close to an
Yes.
hour.
All right.
Desi, thank you so much for being here. Do you have any other last questions or last things you want us to talk about?
Not that I can think of. Thank you so much for your time. I can't wait for
Thank
my
you for
challenge.
being here. I know, right?
I'm going to have to pay attention to this one. Because
Pebbles, any last words, reattacks, final advice for our community out there?
do what you're passionate about. That's it. Find your passion, latch onto it, and it'll guide you. It'll get you exactly where you want to be.
So if they want to actually reach out to you looking for a house or buying a house to rent or buy, and then where they can find you?
Well, I'm Pebbles Franco at Top Tier Realty. I'm literally the only Pebbles Franco in the country.
Pretty close.
Sounds like a rock star.
I know, right? I knew there was this vibe here. It's a rock star. You can always reach me by phone at 702-845-4796, or you can find me on Top Tier's website, toptierrealtylv.com.
And Pebbles' Instagram is fantastic. And if you look at the right time, you may see an Instagram ad of her playing golf.
You probably will, because I just played again this weekend, and I'm going back
So,
in 2 weeks. Let me know when you guys are available.
You
Can you film
know
that?
I'm always ready to play.
I
So
want to film that.
Of course you can.
I'm filming that.
Okay, well,
No, that's what I needed.
this is all your stuff. If you tell me to show up at a golf course and Pebbles and I are going to play golf and you guys are going to film it, I will be there.
Oh, let's do it.
All right.
Woo! It's planned.
It's a plan.
Don't
it's a
threaten
plan.
me with a good time.
You both.
All right.
Is there gonna be margarita?
Probably.
We can drink some.
Yeah, we'll
I'm
figure
not
it out.
opposed.
Yeah.